Hello and welcome to the Refs Need Love To podcast, a show that gives you a real, raw, and behind-the-scenes view of one of the hardest jobs on the pitch, the referee. I'm your host, David Gerson, a grassroots referee and certified mentor with over 10 years of experience and over 1,300 matches under my belt. You can find me at refsneedlove2.com, on Insta, on TikTok, and on YouTube. Today, we're going to chat about State Cup, coaches who are rude, and working with my son. All right, guys, a quick note before we get into today's pod. I actually popped out of bed at 5:30 this morning. I actually left my corporate job. My last day was this past Friday. And I tell you that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm recording this, I've been like nonstop busy action, whether it's stuff around the house, stuff about Refs Need Love To. I've got another project that I'm working on, a consulting gig right now. Like popped out of bed, 5:30, got down to my gym by 5:45 after I fed the dogs, and worked out for an hour and 20 minutes. And while I did it, I actually voice scripted today's podcast. And I was all really excited. I spent like a lot of time going through it and everything. And then I like hopped out of my note to grab a letter from the mailbag and add it in. And I went back to find my note and it was gone. My entire hour and 15 minutes that I spent working on scripting out this podcast was gone. But I still have like things I want to talk about. And so I decided, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and record it and do the best job that I can. So if I meander a little bit, forgive me. I'm just passionate about these subjects and I want to get them out, even if it's not as concise as I normally would like to be. So topic number one, State Cup. That's right. I got assigned not just to refereeing the State Cup, but actually for the State Cup of Georgia semifinals and finals. And it's considered to be a pretty big honor here where I live. If you're selected to work the semifinals or the finals, they are normally reserved for regional and national referees. So you got to definitely be top notch to be that. It doesn't always mean regional or national referees. That are people that are usually on their way to being a regional referee or just very highly experienced and professional referees. For the girls game, so they have girls one weekend and then the following weekend they have the boys semifinals and finals. They generally want to try and get all female crews if they can. This is a really big deal. Our state assigner, Mike Wright, he's a wonderful man and he's been in the game and involved in the game for over 50 years, really wants to make sure that the ladies on the pitch see referees that they can connect with and identify with out there and see that, yes, girls and women can be referees too. Because I got to be honest, I referee a lot, usually in higher level competitions, ECNL, MLS Next, and ADASL, which is our local Atlanta adult amateur league. It's not recreational, it's higher level of play, or UPSL. And there's really only a few women who do it. 90% of the time when those higher level games, it is mostly men out there. And that's just a straight up observation from my experience. So when you get to State Cup, we do want to try and find the best female referees in our state to be there. There's only, I think, maybe 2 regional female referees in the state of Georgia, maybe 3 to my knowledge. And they were all involved in State Cup, whether the girls or the boys, these past 2 weekends or so. But for the 4th official position, they specifically chose myself and another veteran referee who's also one of my assigners to be the 4th official, to just make sure that everything went smoothly out there with the coaches, with the benches, with the substitutes, so that the referees on the pitch, the assistant referees and the center referee, can focus on doing their job. That's for sure. And I'm just going to answer this thing right here. I had someone ask this at least once a week. Someone asked me a question. Hey, are you going to be a regional referee someday? I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm not. Do I think I could pass that fitness test? Yes. Have I failed twice before? Yes. But I definitely think with the right training, I wasn't far off last time. I made it through the sprints, passed that, made it through 6.5 laps. I just needed to get to 10 of the sprint and walk. I think I could do it. But honestly, guys, I don't want to spend all of my Friday and Saturday nights trying to chase down these assignments at UPSL matches to center those things and get paid, I don't know, might be $110 or something like that. But I lose a weekend where I could be hanging out with my kids, my 2 kids who haven't gone off to college yet, or during the summertime when my son is home. I'd like to hang out with them while I can before they're gone. If you're in your young 20s, whatnot, or you don't have a family yet, maybe it's not a big deal for you to be gone every weekend chasing these matches to get the 25 centers you need to be a regional. For me, it's a big deal. And I just don't want to do it. I also have to say, I think my best and highest use is as a mentor and as a youth referee. I'm not going to be going to travel to the MLS Next events, the ECNL events. I've got a career. I've got a life here in Georgia. So no, I'm not chasing regional right now, and I'm okay with that. That's totally fine. Just want to get the regional thing out of the way. My best use on the pitch is to be a mentor and an ally. How can I help not only the local game when I'm a referee, but my fellow officials be the best that they can be and be supportive of referees from diverse backgrounds, my female referee, colleagues, whatnot. How can I support them? That's what I think my best and highest use is for U.S. soccer. Okay, so fourth official, what do you do? So we make sure pre-match that the uniforms are not conflicting and that we figure out what uniform we're wearing as referees. We can sometimes do, if the referee wants us to go ahead and do the check-ins for all the players, make sure everyone's properly rostered, make sure no one's wearing jewelry. That's right. Earrings need to come out. Can't believe we had to deal with this at semifinals of State Cup where someone's wearing a nose ring. It was one of these little ones, hard to see at the beginning of the match. And when we noticed it, yeah, you got to come out. Yeah, you can come back on when it's out. And they're like, no, I can't take it out, please. Yeah, guess what? The next day, they had it out for the finals. Of course they did. Game balls, making sure that we've got 2 balls, at least. For this tournament, the game balls were supplied by the home team. Yeah, it shouldn't be a shock to you that I need 2 game balls, but some coaches are shocked by that. Managing substitutions, making sure everyone's wearing pennies and stuff on the bench, making sure the coaches are staying in their technical area, answering questions for the coaches, be a sounding board sometimes for them. That's your job. And I actually did pick up 2 things during my matches. I did 4 matches where I was assigned as a fourth official, 2 for semifinals and 2 for the finals to pick up and do better next time. Number 1, although the girls on the benches did have pennies, they didn't necessarily have them fully on over their jersey. They were like, they had it around their neck dangling off them, and it wasn't all the way pulled down off the jersey. So I need to make sure they're fully wearing those pennies from the time that this match starts to the time that they're walking up to the center to sub in, all the way up until that moment when they're about to come onto the pitch so that we can keep track of who's on and who's off. I would also say in these matches, there were specific substitution rules in terms of people could only sub, they could come out in the first half and they can come back in the second half, but they couldn't come in and out in the same half. So there was a certain amount of substitutions per half and you couldn't re-enter. So I had to keep track of the substitutions as well. So there's a bunch of things I could do there. There was also a moment, I didn't see it, but one of the mentors saw it, where some girls were kicking a ball around as they were warming up. And I didn't see it. They were behind the bench. I wasn't looking at it, but 2 little things that I could pick up on to do better. But generally speaking, out there, I'm supporting my center referee. Every now and then, I'd help out with a throw-in decision. If it was something close to me, just give a little indication and direction. But I'm there to back them up. I'm there to answer questions for coaches. If they didn't understand what happened or what a call was. And if I knew, I would tell them, oh yeah, I think what the ref saw there was that little pull from behind. Or yes, there were offsides. They came back from an offside position or something of that nature. And if you don't know, I say, hey, coach, I don't know. Referee was much closer to the play. But that's what I do. It's just trying to make sure that you keep everything cool over there so the referee can focus on what they need to do on the pitch. I did have one crazy experience as a fourth official for the State Cup this couple weekends ago. My center referee, as we were coming out of the referee room at halftime, said, oh man, my calves are really tight. I hope I don't cramp up. And wouldn't you know, in the 75th minute of the match, a 2-1 match, definitely competitive, a 1-goal game. We're playing to get into the final the next day. The center referee, it's a goal kick. And she's jogging back to get in position for the goal kick to happen. And all of a sudden, she just, David, she puts a hand up and goes down. Like, I need you. I'm like, okay. And so I go run out there. My legs have completely cramped up and seized. I yell for the trainer and she's like tears in her eyes. She's really upset. And she's in a lot of pain. And then it's also not only you in a lot of pain, but you want to finish the match as the referee, but you got all these 150, 200 spectators there, the players, the coaches and whatnot. It's not a moment in time you want to go down. There's mentors there. There's fellow referees watching these games. But it's definitely not a situation you want to have happen. But I was like, hey, don't worry about a thing. I got it. And so I immediately start, as the trainer's coming over, whatnot, and she's being taken care of, I just start my warm-up. So I did really quick 3-minute warm-up. and to get ready for the match. I always keep my cards on me. I have my whistle, so I'm like, all right, let's go. And we restarted the match. And not 2 minutes into the match, I had a head-to-head collision where someone had to go out for a possible head injury. And one of the girls we literally had another like 5-minute stoppage as I'm dealing with the head injury and the bloody nose. This game wound up going all the way to 90 plus 15, and it wound up staying a 2-1 win. But man, it was close. But I think that's one of the things as a fourth official is making sure you're staying dialed in the whole time, because you never know when you may need to jump on in. One last thing I'll just say about the tournament and at State Cup. So some State Cups or finals of major tournaments give referees a medal or a specific commemorative coin. For State Cup in Georgia this year, they gave the winning teams, the teams that won their respective divisions, like this really gorgeous ring. And then the semifinals also got a ring, but it was a little bit different style, not as like big and bling and bold, whatnot. But all of the referees who worked the finals also got a ring. These things, if you've seen like state championship rings in high school, that's what these things were, man. They were ridiculous, oversized, like gold plated with big gems around, State Cup of Georgia on the side. I got to tell you, we were giddy, like absolutely giddy. It was the coolest thing ever. And honestly, I feel like, man, where am I going to wear this? It's hilarious. Don't worry. I'll probably put it in a case, put it on a shelf someplace, but it was really awesome. Really awesome. And yes, we work hard as refs and we deserve a little love too. And I'm so glad they hooked us up with that. It was fantastic. But overall, great experience and so thrilled to have the honor to be on those crews, to be there as a participant, to be there as a referee, also to be there and help support and mentor those young ladies as well. And they did a great job. All right, real quick. I want to give a little quick word to some of our sponsors real fast. Your first one, Refr Sports. I've talked about them in the past. I do not know why more people are not using them for referee management and assigning. I just literally, kid you not, this morning got a note from one of my assigners that they're moving to another cockamamie homemade assigning platform that's associated with a league. Another one. And I already know that it's going to suck. I just know it because the league does not think like referees. They think about assigning matches, like for their teams, but they don't think about all the things that we need to have as referees. And it doesn't have a mobile app. So it's only going to look good on desktop. It's going to be awful on my phone. Again, it's so frustrating. If you're developing a technology for referees these days, it should be mobile app native and the website should be mobile dynamic. So it looks good on no matter what device you're going to be looking at it on. And again, things I want to know on my assigning app, I want to know what I'm getting paid, who's my crew, does it have their contact information easy to get, the rules of competition, make it easy to accept games, make it easy to put in availability, and make it easy to navigate around. I mean, it's really, those are all the things that make Refr Sports the world's fastest growing assigning solution. And it's 100% free for assigners. Like, why not jump over and do it? It makes you easier to work with. I'm telling you, man, I've got a number of assigners in my world. I wish they would listen to my podcast or at least listen to my advice and get Refr Sports now. They've been doing it for a number of years now. They cover over 25 sports, no matter what the competition. So if you're an assigner and you're doing soccer and you're doing hockey, you're doing baseball, it is the one place to go. It's everything you need in one place. Again, it's Refr Sports, REFR. That's how it's spelled. Sports, if you're looking it up in the App Store and web. Check it out. All right. Additionally, guys, if you're a ref and you're not using the Ref6 Pro app, which I use every single week, you're missing out. It is by far the best timer in the game. I wouldn't talk about it and say it's the best if I didn't use it. I've been using it religiously for the last 5 or 6 years. I've used many different watches. I've tried the Spinso watch and I've tried another like specific referee watch, but it's not easy to read or easy to understand. The Ref6 Pro app is bold and clear and crisp. It makes it so easy to know exactly how much time's remaining, how much added time that I've added to the match, and be able to tell the players and the coaches what minute of the match we're in. Additionally, the post-match analysis, like of my sprints, the distance covered, heat maps, even my heart rate throughout the match is so interesting. I love pushing myself to do the best and get the analytics from the app after my games. It really does tell a story. You can literally look at my heat map and know exactly what was happening in that game, or get an idea of what type of game it was. Even when I'm like doing a sprint, like literally I think to myself, oh man, that's going to be a great one on the app after the match. It's going to be in the red zone. I love it. So listen, if you use Ref6 or you're going to be a new subscriber, use my code REFSNEEDLOVE. Okay, just like those 12 letters there, REFSNEEDLOVE, and you get 10% off monthly or annual subscriptions. There is nothing like it. Again, great app, great data, and saving money in the process. You go. All right, guys, the next section I want to talk about is the fact that some coaches are just rude. Just going to say it straight up. Some coaches are rude, and I don't know why or what they hope to accomplish. I'm being sincere. What's the point? I had a coach at a local tournament last month. Okay, this is not like ECNL or MLS Next or anything crazy high level like that. It's a local club, and they had some teams come from out of state and in state to participate in this. And I'm not being derogatory. Hey, it's not ECNL, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of the level set here. Okay, not recreational. It's certainly not like high level, like extremely technical and highly competitive. It's somewhere in between. But I get to this field to referee this match, and I'm the AR1, and I go to introduce myself to the coaches, and immediately this coach was being rude.
We're going to take a quick break for words from our sponsor. It's better than an in-game water break.
We're here to give you actionable strategies. We're here to dive deep into the world of side hustles, digital marketing, and smart income-boosting tactics. The Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Or just really brushing me off. As usually I go, hey, David, I'll be one of your refs today. I was like, yeah, okay. Hey, coach, can I get 2 game balls? And he rolls me over a ball that looked like it had been ripped up by a Wolverine. I kid you not, patches hanging on. I'm like, hey, coach, I'm happy to blow up a ball. Would you mind just giving me another ball? And he's like, what? I've never had a referee ask me for a second ball. We should be playing with the balls we want to play with it. And I was like, coach, I just need a ball that is intact and not have pieces hanging off of it, if you don't mind. And I say it with a smile. I'm like, I'm always trying to attract bees with honey. I'm just like all about that. And he's like, whatever. So eventually he gets another ball, gives it to me. And I have a pump with me. I'll blow it up. No problem at all. So all good. This coach, as opposed to being like encouraging and warm to his players, this is one of these coaches who's like yelling at him, run here. Oh my gosh, why are you doing that? Why are you kicking back? I don't know, like just like complaining all the time to the players. And it's very difficult to watch, to be very honest with you. And then I'd say about 15 minutes into the match, his goalkeeper, and listen, I totally understand people lose track of where they are on the pitch, but the goalkeeper winds up catching a ball that was bouncing towards her and then continues to take that ball. And not just right on the edge of the penalty area, like a foot outside, but literally past the penalty arc, like a good 2 or 3 yards outside of the penalty area with the ball as she's trying to kick it away. And so I raised my flag, I'm AR1, and we called a direct free kick for a handling offense. It would be one thing if she's, like, and we're dealing with a 13-year-old girl or something like that, but it's one thing if it's like U8, 9, and if it's like a foot or 2, no big deal. Hey, watch it next time. But this one was pretty bad. The other coach noticed it. The other players noticed it. I got to call that. Come on. It's a thing. So I raise my flag. I get the referee's attention because he was standing closer to midfield, expecting the girl to punt it up the field. And we called the play. And the coach just went irate, like just absolutely lost his SHIT. And he's like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Are you kidding me? What? Come on, just give her a warning. And I'm like, coach, sorry. It was really far outside. I wish I could, but it is a handling offense. And he's like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I just, coach, are engaging in public dissent and profanity. Please stop right now or there will be consequences. And whatever, he stomped off. Okay. So this kind of set off like a whole chain of events because it was one thing when he was getting on his kids and his kids are losing this match, probably like 3-0 at this point. But then I'm now enemy number 1. And so he kept like standing on the touchline in my way as I'm trying to move to get up and down the line as the AR1. And I, as the coach, hey, please, coach, can you please back up? And he's like, oh, kidding me? And then literally he'd be like standing like on the field, like a foot, as opposed to like in front of the bench, like in the technical area. And I'm like, coach, can you please step back into your technical area for me? And then he'd take like a 6-inch step. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. It was just, I didn't say that out loud, but I was start getting so frustrated. And then finally, I'd say we're 25 minutes into the first half here. And there's what he believes is a handball committed by the other team on the other side of the field in front of the AR2 sideline that I didn't see. I'm looking at my offside line on my side of the field. And he's like, that was a handball. And it's like a 16-year-old center referee in the middle, but he didn't call it. And I didn't see it. And he's like, how did you not see that? I'm like, coach, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the offside line. I honestly didn't see it. He's like, are you kidding me? You could see that play with this handball. You can't see that. Are you kidding me? What? Are you serious? You could see that. You can't see that. And I'm, coach, please stop. Please stop. Enough. And he's like, how can you do that? How can you see that? You can't see this. I was like, fine, forget it. And so I just called over the ref at the next stoppage of play and showed him a yellow card. I'm like, coach, that's it. No more. We're done for the day. And so he just, at this point, he just sits on his bench to brood. He doesn't coach his team. He just sits there just moping through the match. I have no idea what he said to them at halftime. At second half, same thing. He just sits there on the bench and he's just like moping around, doesn't say anything to me, doesn't say anything to his players. His team gets beat like 8 or 9-0, whatnot. It was just crazy. Then after the match, dude comes up to me. It's like 10, 15 minutes later. And he comes up and he's like, hey man, I just want to apologize. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I used to be a high level player and I just get upset. I just get really passionate. I get upset out there. I'm just like, okay, coach, that's it. Apology accepted. And I didn't say anything to him. But my gosh, someone needs to mentor these coaches sometimes and teach them how to be a coach. How do you encourage little 12 and 13-year-old girls to play? What's the right way to talk with them? Certainly. And what's the right example to set with them? But also, man, yelling at the referee ain't helping you win. It ain't helping your girls play better. It's not endearing you to them because they don't like seeing people be treated like that. Certainly. It's not a good look, man. So I don't think that guy's going to be coaching long. But I will tell you, it's not just at newer coaches or something nature. And I think this guy was probably in his low to mid 20s at State Cup. Same type of thing. I asked the coach, hey, can I check in your players? And he's like, we'll tell you when we're ready for check-in. And I'm like, okay, man, that was weird. You can stay right where you are. I just need the roster and we can do this. But no, got attitude right away. And then same thing, asking for game balls. Rolls me a couple game balls over that are completely unacceptable. And I'm like, coach, can I have a good game ball, an attack game ball, whatever it was? And it's, again, kidding me? This is ridiculous. Like, my gosh. And then like even to asking them putting their stuff behind the bench, all of a sudden they take this attitude. Again, I don't understand. I don't get it. Now, in this specific one at State Cup, I think this coach might have just been nervous. Or maybe he's had bad experiences with refs in the past, because once the game got going, he was actually really sweet to his players and we had no issues. He was nice to me. He had a question about something. He asked in a respectful manner. I have no idea. But man, it is just such a bad look. It does not help anyone to be rude to the referees. The only thing that's going to happen out of that is you're going to get carded. And you're really not going to be setting a good example for your players if you're blaming referees for stuff, because all of a sudden now everyone's a victim. There's no way we can win because we're playing against the other team and the referees. My gosh, just be kind, be encouraging, be a decent person. And that's a good way to go. So the next weekend was after the girls' State Cup was the boys' State Cup. And I probably could have been assigned to boys' State Cup, but my son Jacob was home. He got home from college on that Friday and he needs money. He's a poor college kid. Yes, he has a job at college, but he needs more money. He's a poor college kid. I tried seeing if I can get him assigned to State Cup, but again, you got to be regional or above. Jacob just doesn't ref that much anymore. He's only reffing during the summertime with me and on these short little breaks and stuff. He's certainly not at the level that some of these other regional refs or national refs are or anything like that. So when I got an idea he wasn't going to be able to get assigned, I was like, all right, I'll go ref someplace else. And I was able to go right across the street and we did 2 matches on that Saturday and 2 matches on Sunday and had a wonderful time. Honestly, getting to spend time with my son, much as I would have loved to have been on the field for State Cup and be around those other refs. Because let me tell you, for the boys State Cup, there's many more regional and national referees here in the state of Georgia that are men, those crews were unbelievable. And yes, there were a few women on those crews as well, and regional referees, and they're outrageous as well. So I would have loved to work with them. I will say one thing about the Boys State Cup. Just because you have great referees does not mean that matches will go smoothly. I actually went over to watch some of the State Cup matches, the finals, after our games were done across the street at some other fields. They had 3 mass confrontations, like full-on mass confront the morning of finals. They had to give out over 7 red cards. They also had to send off a coach who aggressively ran onto the field to yell at the officials post-match. Even great referees can have difficult matches. That's right. Even great referees get yelled at by players, coaches, and spectators. It doesn't mean they're bad refs. It just means that for whatever reason, people disagree with the call. Maybe they saw it differently. Maybe they just have no freaking clue what they're talking about. I listened to one angry dad scream incessantly. This is a U19 match, right? He should know what the laws of the game are by U19, right? And he's screaming about someone's throw-in technique. It was a foul throw. And it's like one of these Weston McKinney's where he wind up to the side, but he was coming from behind and over the head and his feet were down on or behind the touchline. It was perfectly legal. But to this dad, it was an abomination. And this ref doesn't know what he's doing. Gosh, just remember that the next time you get down. Just because someone yelled at you or was unhappy with your call does not mean it was a bad call. It is less a reflection on you and more a reflection on that. Now, one last note about reffing with my son. Jacob, for a while, really got out of being a referee. I've mentioned on the podcast, I'm not going to go over it again. We had a couple really bad experiences at some adult amateur matches towards the end of his or middle of his junior year of high school. And he's, no, I don't need to stress anymore. I'm not going to ref. And we did a few games here and there, but he really wanted to move on and do something else. And by his senior year of high school, he found a job working on a pizza truck, making crazy cash, like tons of cash, honestly, going to different events and stuff and bars, and they'd set up the truck outside and he was getting crazy cash. He was having a blast. And ever since that really bad experience that we had his junior year, he was like, yeah, I'm never centering a game again. I really don't want to do anything competitive again. And he'd only AR matches when we had some opportunities here and there, or really needed him for something and someone backed out. And then the last end of senior year of high school is, yeah, I'm not going to get certified again. But thankfully, over the summers, after he's been at college, he's regained a level of confidence and maturity and much more comfort being back on the pitch. And this summer in particular, and just recently, he's now wanting to step back into the middle again to referee matches. And I have to tell you, it is so unbelievably inspiring getting to see your child out there refereeing matches, someone who's making a decision to step into the middle, to hold that whistle, to know that they're going to have to make unpopular decisions, to know that they're going to have to be a leader out there on the pitch as needed, to know that they've got to be on top of their game and know the laws and the decisions and the right signals and everything and be able to communicate with everyone out there. And it's so wonderful for me to be able to spend that time with him, but just to see the man he's become and know that if he can handle that, if you can be a center referee for a competitive match, whether it's girls or it's boys, U15, U16, U17, those age groups, whatnot, if you can do that stuff, you're going to be fine in life. I know it. He's got strength. He's got resilience. He's got charisma. He's got communication skills. Yes, he's an athlete, but it's all those mental things, man, that just tell me he is going to be successful in life and he's going to do well. I love that, but hasn't always been easy. I love that he went through a time where he struggled and he's overcome and he's pushed through. That is the kind of stuff that warms my heart as a dad and just gives me so much belief in his future to know that he's going to be just successful in life. So, man, I tell you, I would take spending time with my son and seeing him strong and grow on the pitch as a referee over State Cup any day. I'll tell you that. All right. Now for a letter from the mailbag. This is a really good one, really sweet one. I love it when people really take the time and thought about putting their letters together. And let me tell you, I read, as I said, I read every single message every single person sends me, every single one. Sometimes it might take me a week or two, but I read every single one, whether I get it on TikTok, on Instagram, on refsneedlove2@gmail.com. If you send me something, I promise you I will read it and respond. All right, this one comes from Dan. He writes, I've been listening to your podcast and watching your videos for a while now, and I love the content and what you do. Apologies for the verbosity, but I wanted to share my very recent journey and express my gratitude for the inspiration you are. My youngest son has played soccer for years, and we watch Premier League religiously together. Over his last few seasons in rec, often games didn't have refs. I volunteered once and was hooked. I absolutely love doing it, to the point I would be pacing at games hoping a ref wouldn't show up so I can don the whistle. He is now in his first year in a competitive program. I knew the same opportunities would not be there, so I started thinking about getting certified, but kept putting it off. In part thinking maybe 47 is too old to start. And then one big tournament weekend led to a referee shortage, and I got to step in again. I had even more fun, in large part because watching your videos helped me feel more confident on the pitch. There was a ref on the field next to ours, and we chatted during half, and at the end of our matches, he just said, "You got to get your badge." So inspired by you and him, I registered that night. I finished my on-field last weekend just in time so I can ref my first 2 games tomorrow in the last week of the season. I'm very excited, and I look forward to the constant learning and really hope to be a steady positive influence for the players and for the younger referees in the community. Thank you for the inspiration, your positivity, and your guidance. I'm not sure I would have taken the leap without you and that extra encouragement for the guy in yellow a few Saturdays ago. Please keep doing what you are doing as long as it feeds you. You are educating and inspiring many, and I am grateful for it. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to your continued content. I'll also be definitely ordering some scorecards to get ready for the next season. Thank you again, and best wishes, Dan. And I absolutely love that, Dan. Thank you so much for that letter. That's fantastic. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's pod. I really wanted to share those stories and observations from State Cup. Again, it may not have been perfect today, just because I didn't have it all scripted out the way I wanted to earlier at 6:30 this morning. But I hope you gained something out of today's podcast. Honestly speaking, I feel if you get one thing that helps you be a better referee, then I'm doing my job. I'm fulfilling my mission and my purpose with this podcast. Also, guys, please support the Refs Need To store online. If you have not checked out the referee socks with the center referee and the assistant referee on it, you need to. They are awesome. I designed them for you. You will love them. Again, all of the proceeds get poured back into making this channel a reality. Guys, I wish you all the best, a very happy holiday season, and I hope your next match is red card free.